Creating the best or even perfect smartphone is no easy task. There need to be some really good specifications in order to make this phone happen. You have to have a great display, great battery life, great camera, great build quality, everything. There needs to be a consistent feeling of everything working out the box and being excellent. There can be no compromises. You see what I'm saying here? Well, most manufacturers and OEMs compromise something. Sometimes we get a phone that looks really good and has excellent build quality and a really good camera, but the performance is crap. Or we get a phone with really good performance and a really good camera and a really good just everything, and the software or the app support is really garbage. I think this year we may have found the phone to do it right all the way. My name is Javon LeBlanc. This is Chill Tech, and this is our 2015 review of the Google Nexus 6P. Google didn't mess around this year when they reached out to Huawei to build the Nexus 6P. The Nexus 6P is just gorgeous. This is probably the best looking Nexus phone we've ever got. And the Nexus 5X, in my personal opinion, looks pretty good. So did the 6 from last year. But the 6P is in a league of its own. The full unibodied metal frame is just wow. It's stunning to look at. The chamfered edges give it a nice comfortable feel to hold in the hand. The textured power button and the nice tactile and clicky buttons from the volume rocker and the power button just makes this phone feel premium. And that's what the P stands for the 6P, premium. And that's usually a term that's thrown around a lot because a lot of things can be premium. You don't have to be metal to be premium, but there's something really premium about this phone. And that's because when you pick up this phone, it feels like $1,000 in your hand. It just looks and feels excellent. And Google definitely nailed that aspect of premium down. A really interesting design though, what made this phone really premium, is the fact that it has the fingerprint scanner on the back, which is lightning fast, may I add. Also, they have something called the visor, which has all the sensors on top of the phone and a beautiful almost flush black like glass panel on the back. They have the laser autofocus as well as the camera. They have different sensors for light and proximities. They have the flash, NFC. A lot of those things are actually built up top. So it's pretty durable because it has Gorilla Glass 4. So it's something that I'm not really worried about tapping on surfaces or letting it rest on a surface. It's pretty good. I've seen some reports about glass cracking and stuff, but these are all Nexus trolls and we don't have time for them. Continuing on the trend of really excellent stuff that the Nexus 6P has is its display. Now, it's not the best display of this year, but it's probably the second best. And I say that because this is using the same technology that Samsung used to use in their high-end Galaxy phones. The Nexus 6P has a beautiful AMOLED display with really deep blacks and popping colors. But the cool thing is that Google gives you the option in developer mode to switch it from the very saturated AMOLED display colors to an sRGB mode, which gives you much more true-to-life accurate colors. So you have two preferences and options inside the profiles you can pick for the display that are really good. I recommend just keeping it normally out the box with a saturated look because the colors pop and it looks really good. But if you're a professional, I'm pretty sure I know which one you're going to choose. Now the display is also 5.7 inches, so it's close to 6 inches, so I guess it's okay to call it an Nexus 6. But it feels like a 5.5 inch phone. It's actually the same dimensions as the iPhone 6s Plus, which make it really comfortable to hold in one hand, yet it's still a two-handed device because it's big enough. But if you have big hands, I can see some people managing this with one hand. It's kind of back and forth. Flanking the display are two powerful front-facing speakers, which have really punchy sounds and really loud overall volume.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, some people, if I would have told them if this was an HTC Boom sound speakers, they'll believe me. But it's not. This is just Huawei speakers inside of a Nexus phone, and I'm just really impressed with Huawei speakers. It's probably even better than Boom sound, but don't quote me on that. But it's possible. I mean, it's really loud. The Nexus 6P also has really excellent performance, and what part of makes that performance really well is the fact that it's running pure stock Android from the way that Google intended it to be. It also has some of the top-end hardware from this year. It has the Snapdragon 810 octa-core version 2.1 processor. Pretty much this is a beast in processing power, as well as it also has some really fast RAM. It has LPDDR4 RAM at 3 GB. So it's low powered and allows it to keep the phone multitasking really well while not consuming much battery life. And let's talk about that battery really quickly. The Nexus 6P has over a 3,400 milliamp hour battery. This battery can last all day, and for some users it'll last 2 days. It's really good and energy efficient as well. Standby time with Marshmallow's Doze plus the hardware built in means you can rest this phone down overnight at 90% and wake up with no less than 90% or 89%. It's really excellent, and those features will work really well with this. The performance of this phone has been second to none. Part of what makes it a perfect smartphone is having features in place that gives it a long-term effect down the road. Therefore, I'm talking about features like USB Type-C, the new standard of coming charging ports. It allows the phone to charge really fast and also have really fast transfer rates. It also allows the phone to allows the device to charge and sync between other devices like the new MacBook, the Chromebook Pixel, and the Google Pixel C. All those devices share USB Type-C, and going Type-C to Type-C has its advantages. One thing that people don't talk about much on Nexus phones is the camera. I'm not sure why. Nexus phones never really had bad cameras. They just never been pack leading. And that's something I've always been saying for Google for a long time, is make a camera that's above every other phone, not just as good or maybe slightly below. The Nexus 5 was a good example of that. It had a pretty good camera for its time, but it was slow and the app was kind of clunky. So the combination of hardware and software definitely didn't go together. Then we have the Nexus 6, which had really good camera hardware, but the software didn't really lend its hand in that particular aspect to make it an overall best compelling camera. It wasn't bad, and the images were pretty good that came out of it. It just, taking photos and everything together wasn't the best. Now we have the Nexus 5X and 6P, which share the same exact camera optics, except with the 6P having EIS, because both phones are absent of OIS. Now, what makes this phone's camera just spectacular is the fact that they're both sharing a 12.3 megapixel camera, which is good enough for field of depth and getting some pretty good details in shots. But what's more impressive is the 1.55 micron pixels that are on these cameras that allow the cameras to absorb tons of more light. This makes nighttime shooting an excellent thing to do. No more are you not pulling out your phone at nighttime because the photo is going to come out too dark and blurry. This camera can pull out nighttime photos at its pack leading. There's no other camera that's say on a smartphone besides probably the new Lumias that can give you excellent nighttime photos. The daytime photos are also just as good. It's definitely probably the second best in daylight photos compared to the Samsung Galaxy phones. But believe it or not, this time Nexus has better cameras than the iPhones, which are really impressive. The cameras on the Nexus 5X and 6P are excellent. With the 6P, you just double tap the power button to open up the camera app. Immediately, that's really fast and intuitive. But what makes it really good is that the camera app is really simple to use. You just click it and tap. You have auto HDR, which the Google can let you know whether this photo needs HDR plus or not. And it's actually been pretty accurate in my testing. Also with this, we also got return of 4K video from the previous Nexus 6, as well as some additional features like slow motion. This camera can take slow motion videos finally on a Nexus phone up to 420 frames per second, and it looks phenomenal. Rounding out the camera experience that has been excellent. Anyone that is a photographer lover or someone that really wants a really good quick snap and shoot, the Nexus 6P is definitely the camera you should be carrying with you if you don't feel like carrying around a DSLR or a compact camera or anything like that. The one on your phone is probably the most reliable, and the Nexus 6P is extremely reliable. But I will say this, there's no such thing as the perfect smartphone. And one quality of I can see that is that the Nexus 6P has really good audio drivers for, phone call quality, but it's not the same as the previous Nexus 6. And it's kind of a disappointment because I've been kind of spoiled by Motorola phones because they have just the best audio, the audio quality when it comes to phone calls. But because of the really good speakers, I guess it kind of balances out. Now the phone call quality isn't bad. People can hear you, you can hear them just fine. There's just a little bit of crispiness that's not there. Now, as an update to this video, we have been using the Nexus 6P on its latest 6.0.1 version, which enabled voice over LTE, as well as it also enabled T-Mobile, if you have T-Mobile Band 12 and 7 support, which makes it really, really good. So audio quality has been improved since the shooting of this video. So wrapping up this video, the Google Nexus 6P has been everything you can ask for on a phone. The camera's been excellent, the battery life is really good, it has great future tech inside, it has really good hardware, the performance is excellent, the sound quality and the audio quality is really good. It's been overall a pleasant experience in all angles, and the price point is what sweetens this deal. The Nexus 6P starts at $499 for the 32GB, goes up to $550 for the 64, and $600 for the 120GB. We opted here at Showtech for the 120GB because for $600, you're looking at an iPhone 6s at 16 gigs or a Samsung Galaxy Note 5 at 32 gigs. So do you see what I'm saying here? This is the first no compromise smartphone. You get a really good price with excellent hardware, excellent software, and it's become the total package. There's no such thing as a perfect smartphone, but if there was, this phone would be it. Google Nexus 6 has been everything you can ask for in a phone, and going into 2016 and you have this phone, you're going to feel pretty confident this is the phone you want to carry throughout the year. Now, there are reports that Google and Huawei are making another phone next year, so that makes it really much more exciting to see what they got. But maybe you don't want to upgrade. Maybe you just want to enjoy this phone for what it is. The best smartphone of 2015. If you enjoyed this review video of the Nexus 6P, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We do gaming and tech videos all the time, as well as we'll be doing some more different projects within this channel as well. Follow us on our social media sites like Google+, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, keep it chill and have a happy holidays. Peace. We have a Christmas clock. That was it's weird.